Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We've got Frank Leboeuf here, Craig's here.
You know, like we just finished the show, because people that are watching the show are now watching this, but if you're just watching YouTube, tomorrow, or whatever day it is, we were just talking about Lionel Messi's birthday at the end of the show, and we were talking about people watching the show, and you said maybe Lionel Messi's watching the show, which is quite a stretch, I know. But he'd never understand you, would he?
He would, what with my Middlesbrough accent?
Yeah, no chance.
Oh, because your Scottish accent's so perfect.
He's got more chance.
Yeah, that's even worse.
He's got more chance with me and Stevie than he's got with you.
He could put subtitles on.
What? Sorry, what, us? I'm putting them on with you in a minute. With your northeast Teesside accent, he's not got a chance.
No, he hasn't. I'll speak to him in Spanish instead, then he'll understand me.
Well, your Spanish is about as good as Dan's, isn't it?
It's way better than Dan's, thank you very much. Okay.
You can say goodbye, you can say hello, and you can order a glass of wine. That's about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Since today is Messi's birthday, which is each one of your favourite Messi moments over the illustrious career?
Can't remember. Seriously, he's been that. You must. You fountain of knowledge. There's been so many. How can you score 50 goals a year and remember?
I'll tell you what. There's, for me, more than the moments, and there's obviously been a ton. It's that thing that I don't know how many goals he scored, but it feels like at least 300 of them have been the same move where he cuts in from the wing inside and finishes from the edge of the box. And the defenders, they all know what he's going to do because he's done it a bazillion times before, and they can't stop him. I mean, that to me is greatness. I mean, the old timers will know about, Garincha, the winger who always did the same move, but he was executed so perfectly you couldn't stop that. And for me, that's the defining Messi moment.
My favourite moment is not a goal, and this is not. Before people start, I'm not a Messi fan over a Ronaldo fan, right? I just don't want to get into that.
Nobody even said Ronaldo's name, you did.
You brought him up.
The two of them are synonymous with each other, as we know. Bearing in mind the pressure from his country he was under, I think my favourite moment was seeing his nothing against France, Frank, but seeing that Argentinian team that was not as talented as the French, that had a lot of workmanlike players, had Messi in his mid-30s or whatever he was, getting over the line and winning a World Cup, and finally that moment for him where he didn't have however many million people in his home country saying, but Maradona did it, and you'll never be Maradona. To see, and maybe people still think that.
Well, he will never be Maradona,
but to still have that moment when he probably thought it was gone, when he looked at his age, when he looked at the team, thought, lose to Saudi Arabia, match day one, bit of a problem here, and then to go all the way and do it, that for me bettered any magical moments he had with goals, I think.
Yeah. Frank, what about you?
It's funny that Craig mentioned the World Cup, because before that, Messi was playing in Paris, and a year before, I met him with Navas and their wives at the club that I'm working out, and they were there with the kids, and they have some football pitches, and they were playing football. And I talked to Lionel throughout his wife, because his wife was speaking English, and we talked, and I said to him that I wished him the best for the World Cup, not knowing that he would play against France in the final. But I felt that that would be nice for him to get finally a World Cup, because I think with the talent that he has, he deserved to be a World Cup winner, and I was very pleased for him, even if it was against France. A part of me said, that's only fair. That was kind of dedicated to him. So when he won the World Cup, I said, well, that's a good thing for that guy.
Let's be honest, Frank, he didn't want to talk to you. He sent his wife over.
He pretended not to.
Oh, well, that's probably true, but he didn't have the choice.
He's gone, who's the baldy guy with the beard that keeps trying to talk to me? Get that?
No, we were introduced to each other, and of course I was very flattered talked to him. I think he didn't know who I was, so yeah, for him,
Wait,
I was
Did you
another guy. That's
was you
for
holding
sure.
the World Cup?
Yeah.
You know, you're normally holding a
No,
World Cup.
no.
You weren't
no,
tempted?
because no, the World Cup is only here. You see, it's when he's only here.
How he keeps it. Hold on, here's one I made earlier. Let's go down.
Oh, I thought you said.
Yeah.
You thought you were
No. I don't go away. That's the place the World Cup stays, you know. But no.
You
But
don't travel
somebody
with it.
introduced her. They say Frank Leboeuf. Yeah, and it's funny because the guy say, "Oh, Lionel, can I introduce you to Frank Leboeuf? He's the World Cup winner." And suddenly you have the guy, because we were waiting for the translation. He turned at my head to look who the guy is. I never heard about that guy. Whatever.
Hold on a minute. This is classic Frank, this, isn't it? We're having a conversation about Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi.
And his finest
And
moment.
he somehow managed to make this about him.
And his World Cup.
No, because you're absolutely twisted. I just said that I was happy, you know, I was happy to see the guy winning the World Cup against France.
Yeah.
That you didn't hear. That you didn't want to hear.
No,
but
You want to hear?
But you know, we're talking about Lionel Messi, one of the greats, and you said, yeah, I was talking to Messi, and I was talking to his wife, and he was, you know what I mean?
No, but he's happy for him because Messi now won a World Cup, so has ascended to Frank's level.
Yes.
1-1.
Even if he doesn't know who Frank is.
You see?
Okay, guys. Among
Oh,
these,
yeah.
Among these three, who will have the higher chance of top 6 next term? Manchester United or Spurs or Nottingham Forest?
Definitely not Nottingham Forest. I think that was I think they may be solid next year. I don't think they will ascend to the heights that they were. I mean, you're asking Chris Wood to have another season like he had. I think it's unlikely. I think history would probably tell you that. They're clinging on to Anthony Elanga at the moment with bids from Newcastle. They're possibly hanging on to Gibbs White. So there's a lot of things are happening. They've got a very, how can I put it, highly strong ownership and owner. I think, to me, if I'm being honest, I kind of think Tottenham, with the change in manager, might be the better chance than Man United. Although I did hear when I was away, when Don was over, that he somehow catapulted Man United into the top 4 with a few signings here and there.
Yes, he's done that. All right.
What about the rest of them?
Well, we can go around the rest of them. We've got quite a few questions. Has anyone?
Why have we got quite a few questions?
Because we put out the questions and people want to know. You guys are interested in talking about who has the higher chance?
So I think United and Spurs are both going to make the top 6 next year. I think I really like Thomas Frank, and he's going to have an instant impact, I think, simply by not being Ange, given the situation that was created at the club. But I would have to say, I mean, United need to finish top 6, otherwise Ruben Amorim's gone, right?
Yep.
So you think they're going to finish top 6?
I think they'll both finish top 6. I would expect United to finish higher, and if they don't, there's no alternative for me but changing the manager at that point.
Gab, with so much secrecy around the Man City case, has the Premier League protected itself by keeping things behind closed doors, or has it only made them look worse?
I think it definitely makes the Premier League look worse, and it makes the whole process of transparency look worse. However, in the Premier League defense, these are the rules. They're following their own rules, and those rules were written in the early 90s when the Premier League was first created. And back then, you had 20 owners who were all rich people, but you didn't necessarily have states, you didn't necessarily have billionaires and oligarchs and Mr. Marinakis and all this stuff. You generally had 20 pretty, I don't know if they were all British, but pretty close to it, pretty like-minded people. And so they said, let's keep everything, let's have the rules be actually quite secretive in our procedures, nothing really public, and we'll all sit in a room and we'll all figure it out ourselves and we'll present a united front. And that worked for a long time under the previous Premier League chief executive, Richard Scudamore. The thing is, the owners have changed. Now you have owners who are, they're all just very different one from the other. And now you've got this very litigious, very poisonous process between City against the Premier League, and I think we would all benefit from a lot more transparency. But unfortunately, the way the rules are written, they can't do that. That should be something that they do once this is over. Rewrite the rules. People deserve transparency.
And I think people want to know, without, a quick summation of this, what's the time frame here?
Well, listen, Richard Masters testified before Parliament, and he specifically asked them, right, this Premier League chief executive, and they asked him, like, what is the time frame here? Exactly what you're asking. And he said, I don't know, but if I knew, I couldn't tell you. He's the chief executive of the organization, right? Yeah. There's 20. When we say the Premier League, it's 20 dudes. They're all men who run these football clubs, right? And they're hamstrung by their own rules that they were in 20 years ago. They would love to know. The reality is nobody knows. These 3 men have gone away. Manchester City doesn't know. Heck, we know Pep Guardiola has no idea. Remember when he said, was it back in February? He's like, oh yeah, I think in the next month. He's got no idea. The lawyers for the 2 teams don't have any idea. They will probably find out 24 hours before the official decision comes out, and then either the Premier League will leak it or City will leak it, or they'll both leak it. But they don't know. They're all just sitting there and they're waiting.
Okay. Frank, is there still a lot of animosity toward Messi from the PSG club and fans?
I don't think so. Really. I didn't like what he said when he said he didn't have a good time in Paris. That's the only guy who doesn't like Paris. I mean, it's a beautiful city, and so that's well. I don't even understand the guy when he said that. But no, I don't think so. I think overall, now they have the time to digest what he said. People were happy to have Messi. It wasn't the Messi that they were expecting. I think if Messi would have been as good as he was in Barcelona, he would have stayed in Barcelona. Therefore, it's why maybe he came to Chelsea to rebound or to finish his career. But it wasn't the Messi that before, but he was still a very good Messi. And I think people were proud of having him in the club.
The next one's great. There is apparently a mythical version of Craig called Golf Course Craig, which is extremely positive, fun to be around, and the life of the party. In what context do the rest of the guys turn into their version of Golf Course Craig? So before we ask the guys this, do you understand why the other guys tell us about Golf Course Craig?
Yeah.
Who is Golf Course Craig?
Got a very patient, understanding. Patient, understanding, play with anybody. Pretty much. Enjoy it. I have a great enjoyment of it.
Discusses MLS while he's on the course.
Don't talk football, although some of my older American friends who are trying to understand it ask me the most ridiculous questions, which they get shot down. But no, that's the difference. What people got to understand is, this is obvious. I can't be Golf Course Craig in this studio. This is my job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We have a job to do here. We're not here to be friends all the time. It's nice when you can, and it's nice when everybody can agree. Him and I have been falling out for 20 years now. From 5 Live to you name it. We were Chelsea TV, we've had it all. Argument.
Who is the real Craig though? ESPN FC Craig or Golf Course Craig?
No. Well, in a work capacity, I am who I am. That's not going to change. I mean, I've always been this way in radio and TV. I can't stand fudging. I cannot stand, and everybody does it different. Some people think they can do TV. They all come into it, and most of them have not got an idea. The one thing that it really annoys me is when people want to take the money for the job but don't want to do the job. Now, some are better than others at it, but it doesn't mean you can sit in a studio and not have prepped or not have an opinion. Or not want to say something because you're upsetting a friend or you're upsetting him. That's not your job. That annoys me. Because if you want to take the money, you have to be prepared to put yourself out there. But when you're away from it, it's different, isn't it? We don't have that pressure. It's not. It's a difficult one to explain to people.
Okay.
We're not here. I'm not sitting here. We're not here to agree with everything everyone is saying. We're here to analyse the games, analyse the seasons coming up, analyse the league, and debate a difference of opinion, which a lot of us have, which is normal. And I think that's what makes life interesting. If we all had the same opinion and we all had the same personality, the whole damn world would be boring.
Wait, so golf course Craig doesn't debate anything, doesn't disagree with anybody. He just doesn't really care about having.
No, I will. I will.
But he's pleasant doing it.
Yeah. Very, very pleasant.
And respectful of other people's opinions.
There are many opinions in golf. I will not shout at somebody.
I know Craig. I played with him, and we had some dinners together. He's a straightforward person.
Why are we talking about me, by the way? Talk about me. I don't want to talk about
The question is literally called golf course Craig.
No, but shut up.
needed to give some
I was about saying good things about you, you know.
I don't like good things being said
when he
about
works.
me.
Yeah, but you know, put your fingers in your ears if you don't want to hear me. But when he works, and I know my friend Christophe Dugarry in France, a kind of same person. They are legit to talk about football, and when they're not happy about something, they say it, and they're not going from another way, you know, to make sure that he will pleases everybody. No, they have to say the stuff. They say the stuff, and like he says, I don't give the stuff, and that's who he is. And he does it very well, I think. It's why he's entertaining, and he doesn't really say what people want to hear. And it's why we have a debate, and it's very interesting. But when we go outside of the studio, that guy is a gentleman. I know him. Yeah, I know how good he can be, but still with opinions. And I really appreciate Craig. I always did, and I will always do.
Okay, so Frank, what's your version? Who's your alter ego?
Again, the end, what did you say?
What's the alter ego that you have? Is it when you act? Is that when you're a completely different person? Is that why you like to act, to be somebody different?
No, I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I pretend on TV to be the person that people like to see. The frank, French, not humble, with a big ego, because that's how you see the French with the cliche, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not that type of person. Never been that type of person. I always consider the others. I always take care of the others. I pay attention to the others. That's not who I am. But I'm on TV. Again, I'm entertaining people, and I say I say truth. But when I show the World Cup, I don't never do that. It's just because I know that people are going to comment it, that people are going to tease me, and that's how the show is.
Okay.
If I'm on I don't want to prolong this pain any longer. if I'm on a golf course and somebody's taking a little bit of time playing their shot or something, and I'm like, yeah, don't worry, take your time. If I am.
No,
Do you mean it when you say that?
Yeah, I've said, don't worry, take your time, don't rush, it's fine, don't blah, blah, blah. But if I'm in the studio here and somebody's flapping around, whoever it is over there, I'd be like, get on with it. Because we haven't got time. It's a short show. It's not 4.5 hours like around the golf. It's pretty short, particularly when you're doing a live show.
It is.
30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is.
There he is.
I don't have time for waffle. It's an hour and 20 we've been today. I thought we'd have been out of here at 6:50.
That's why I'm not putting the questions around to everybody.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to get out quick, they're moaning at us in the gallery, right? They're behind us, they're all moaning. The APs are moaning, the director's moaning, the producer's moaning. Who's put all the questions out? If you'd have put 2 questions out,
and I want to go to bed, and I want to sleep.
Today.
The big boss, he's probably in his car driving down the I-84 as we speak. He's gone.
Gab, do you have an alter ego?
No, just very quickly. In real life, with certain specific exceptions, mostly to do with food or injustice, I'm much more tolerant of other people's opinions, no matter how badly thought out or insulting they are. Become more tolerant, more zen that way.
More zen. Okay, who will win the World Cup next year? Who's going to win the World Cup? That's a one-word answer for all of you. Who's going to win the World Cup next year?
Spain.
Argentina.
Frank?
Spain.
Okay. Frank, start, bench or drop these 3 French left backs. Lizarazu, Abidal and Evra.
Oh my God. So I tell you, I start Lizarazu, 100%. I start Lizarazu. For me, he was a fantastic defender. I played with him. He was a warrior. After, I think I would put Patrice Evra. And then, sorry for Eric, even if I really love him, but Patrice Evra was more type of player that would have loved to play like Lizarazu, first defenders, then a little bit more attacking, but I think defensively Lizarazu and Evra were better than Abidal. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Not golf course, Craig.
When are you going to invite Craig on the Gavin
What do we
Jones
put
show?
that up for?
Just so you can talk some more and for even longer on a podcast.
I get wound up by Jules. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, should we get him on?
I'm busy enough. And I don't mean busy.
Trivia question for Craig.
I don't
Who
do
is
Football Americas. I'm a one-man show. There he is, look. There he is, look. There he is, as ginger as they come, look. Actually, that must have been the first minute of the first game. Because he isn't that red, is he? And I tell you what, hey, look how skinny he was.
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
happened?
that was a French referee, Mr. Quignou. Mr. Quignou.
Joël
Friend of
Quignou,
mine.
right?
Joël. Yeah, Joël Quignou.
He's got to be 3 times
That
that
was
size
against
now,
who?
isn't
Uruguay, Italy. What was the team you played against?
he? Germany.
That was Italy, Uruguay.
Germany. West
No,
Germany.
not that game. No.
Oh, I
no,
don't know.
No.
He was a child
Not
in
that game.
1986.
Not that game.
I wasn't looking at. I wasn't looking at the players. I was fixated on the ginger Scotsman.
Who looked like a tomato. All right, that's all we've got time for on the latest edition of ESPN FC.
Oh, praise the Lord!
It's already tomorrow.
Holy smokes!
Good night.
Good morning.